wanted to understand them a little deeper. But on the other side, in a little while, we also have a really interesting chat with Nagesh Kukunur, the director of beloved films, right from Iqbal to his newer show about Rajiv Gandhi. Stay with us. That's all that we have for you. First, we'll take a look very quickly at all of the headlines. Okay, first up, as we promised, young hearts but silent threats. Why are healthy people dropping dead? We want to take a look at the alarm around sudden collapses. We take a look at why cardiac arrests and heart attacks need to be separated, what the difference is, and why we're seeing these issues not wait till older age. Is it as simple as medications that we're taking? Are there other stories here? We bring you the breakdown. And then after that, we take you behind the scenes with acclaimed, much-loved director Nagesh Kukunur, right from building beautiful films about Hyderabad to Iqbal to his most recent outing, the Rajiv Gandhi hunt story. So where and how did we find his assassin? That story and the breakdown of how Nagesh Kukunur as a director works. He joins us right here on the show. And after that, the end of an era, the Nissan GTR's legacy. Is this Godzilla's final roar? It's a legendary farewell, and we join Overdrive to understand what they think. And then we're not done if we don't bring you an insight into the sporting world. We take you to what it is that the assistant coaches have to say about Bumrah in particular, India's star pacer. They say is fit, but a final call remains pending on the second test, and we bring you the breakdown. Today we thought it's important to look at a very, very important health question. Is there a pattern that we're all missing? This week, in the news, Shefali Jariwala, just 42 years old, sudden cardiac arrest, seemingly from the outside healthy. No major comorbidities, no prior red flags, no reason for anyone to suspect that her heart could stop suddenly, it could stop functioning, but it did. And this is not the first time we've heard of either cardiac arrest or heart attacks taking place. You have other actors, actor Siddharth Shukla, fit, charismatic, 40, gone in seconds. You have the Karnataka actor Uday Rajkumar, 43, collapsed suddenly in a hotel. Now, it was very important to us today that we not speculate around the rumors when it comes to what someone could or could not be taking on the side. We wanted to understand why are we suddenly hearing so many reports of health, heart health, cardiac arrest taking place, people in their 40s, people in their 50s. What are the most common questions people like you and I have? What could the issue be? We thought all of these stories are part of a growing string of unexplained cardiac deaths, especially among people in their 30s and 40s. These are people who don't look sick, people who don't feel sick. That brought us to our question, what's going on? Now, all of this is actually playing out as in the same time in Karnataka. Over the past 40 days, 21 people in a single Karnataka district have died of heart attacks. Among them, you have a college professor, a D group worker, a 50-year-old homemaker. The youngest was actually just 19 years old. The oldest was 58. Most of them were under 45. This one isn't a celebrity story. This is a public health story. As you can see, multiple incidents taking place. So we wanted to ask, why is this happening? Are there warning signs at play that our systems just aren't being able to pick up? What's going on? To understand this in much more depth, joining us right now is one of India's leading voices in cardiac care. Dr. Vinita Arora joins us. She's a senior consultant in cardiac electrophysiology at Apollo Hospital. She's also the first woman electrophysiologist in India to help us make sense of this kind of science. So she's going to join us. Doctor, thank you for joining us here on the show. Doctor, if we could start you off first by asking you more basic questions, then we'll get deeper and deeper into this story. But first, doctor, just explain to our audiences कि cardiac arrest and heart attack में फर्क क्या होता है? What's the difference?
Well, it's like apples and oranges being compared as same. So, in very simple words, as you said, we start from the basics. I will say, जब हम घर बनाते हैं, हम दो तरह के सिस्टम लगाते हैं घर में. एक पानी का सिस्टम, एक बिजली का सिस्टम. पानी का सिस्टम जो है वो कंपैरेबल होता है खून की नाड़ियाँ जो ब्लड सप्लाई करती हैं हार्ट को. बिजली का सिस्टम इज द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ऑफ द हार्ट. आई एम गिविंग एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ विच मेक्स द हार्ट बीट. हार्ट हमारी कितने बीट्स पर मिनट पे बीट करता है, दैट इज द इलेक्ट्रिकल नेटवर्क ऑफ द हार्ट. सो जब हार्ट की जो धमनियाँ होती हैं उसमें ब्लॉकेजेस आ जाती हैं, दैट्स अ प्लम्बर्स जॉब टू क्लियर दोज ब्लॉकेजेस. प्लम्बर को हम बुलाते हैं, पानी की अगर प्रॉब्लम होती है, समस्या होती है घर में, तो प्लम्बर को बुलाते हैं. इसी तरह से हमारे इंटरवेंशन कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट जो होते हैं वो प्लम्बर्स होते हैं हार्ट के, वो हार्ट की ब्लॉकेजेस को ठीक करते हैं जिससे कि हार्ट अटैक रुकता है. अगर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का लोचा होता है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी की गलत वायर्स जुड़ जाएं तो वहाँ से स्पार्क्स निकलते हैं, दे जस्ट स्टार्ट गोइंग आउट एंड द हार्ट स्टार्ट्स टू बीट एट अ वेरी फास्ट रेट. हार्ट बीट नहीं करता है, इट स्टार्ट्स टू क्वेर. वो 300-400 बीट्स पर मिनट पे बीट करता है, जो कि लाइफ के साथ सस्टेनेबल नहीं होता है. ब्लड प्रेशर फॉल कर जाता है, बेहोशी आ जाती है, बेहोश होके पेशेंट गिर जाता है. उसको सडन कार्डियक अरेस्ट बोलते हैं. Now, the basic thing to understand from here, we should not confuse these two terms, is that heart attack से 95% patients they survive of heart attack. हमारे पास इतनी मोडालिटीज़ आ गई हैं, नॉट ओनली इन द अवेयरनेस कि हमने इतनी क्रिएट कर दी है कि किसी को पता है अगर छाती में दर्द हो रहा है, भारीपन आ रहा है, तो हमें घर में कुछ क्या चीज़ ले सकते हैं, जब तक कि हॉस्पिटल ना पहुंचे हम थोड़ा बचा सकते हैं अपने आप को हार्ट अटैक से. इसी तरह से हार्ट अटैक की मोडालिटीज़ बहुत होती है. हम दवाइयाँ दे सकते हैं, एंजियोप्लास्टी कर सकते हैं, बाईपास कर सकते हैं. वी हैव सो मेनी थिंग्स टू सेव द पेशेंट. नाउ सडन कार्डियक अरेस्ट, एज द वर्ड सेज, sudden it will come out of the blue. Cardiac it is related to the heart. Arrest मतलब बिल्कुल स्टैंड स्टिल में चला गया हार्ट. जब ये चीज़ होती है तो हमारे पास सिर्फ 6 मिनट होते हैं पेशेंट को बचाने के लिए. इसके अलावा अवेयरनेस अबाउट सडन कार्डियक अरेस्ट इज जस्ट नॉट देयर. हम हर चीज़ को हार्ट अटैक लेबल कर देते हैं, जबकि 95% मोर देन 95% पेशेंट्स डू नॉट सर्वाइव ऑफ सडन कार्डियक अरेस्ट, क्योंकि हमें पता ही नहीं है सडन कार्डियक अरेस्ट में करना क्या है. सो अवेयरनेस इज नॉट क्रिएटेड. दैट्स व्हाई वी कीप मिक्सिंग द टू थिंग्स एंड कॉलिंग वन एज द अदर.
Okay, doctor, you've made the difference very clear. So grateful for that. Doctor, tell us, I want to take you deeper, ask you the causes, but because you've touched on such an important point, first let's click on that. So you said कि cardiac arrest में क्या करना है, most people don't know. What are the right steps to follow? Tell us that, then we'll get deeper.
देखिए, कार्डियक अरेस्ट में क्या होता है, सबसे पहले बेहोशी आती है. एकदम से कोई आपके पास खड़ा गिर गया, राइट? उसके पहले वो होता है, हमारे को CPR की नॉलेज होनी चाहिए. कार्डियोपल्मोनरी रिसक्सिटेशन. अगर मैं किसी क्राउड में जाके लोगों से पूछूं हार्ट अटैक के बारे में, वो 10 चीज़ें जो मैं भी नहीं जानती होंगी वो भी मुझे बता देंगे. लेकिन अगर मैं सडन कार्डियक अरेस्ट के बारे में पूछूं, कोई कुछ नहीं जानता. CPR के बारे में कोई कुछ नहीं जानता. अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करने के बारे में CPR की बहुत ज़रूरत है हमारे को, बिकॉज वी जस्ट हैव 6 minutes. द पर्सन हु हैज़ कोलैप्स्ड इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू हैज़ ओनली 6 minutes. उसके बाद अगर आपने उसको बचा भी लिया बाय एनी मिरेकल, इट विल बी अ वेजिटेबल लाइफ. यू सी, ब्लड सप्लाई टू द ब्रेन गेट्स कॉम्प्रोमाइज द फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट. उसको हमें वापस रिस्टोर करने के लिए गॉड हैज गिवन अस ओनली 6 minutes. उसको स्टार्ट करने के लिए, CPR स्टार्ट करने के लिए, लोग जिनको आता भी है वो भी डरते हैं कि पता क्या होगा. बिकॉज एनी फॉर्म ऑफ CPR दैट यू डू इज बेटर देन डूइंग नो CPR. Because you are trying to save a life. Otherwise, that person is anyway dead.
Right.
And we are all protected by good Samaritan law, which says that अगर हम life saving में CPR करते हैं तो हमारे against कोई allegation या litigation नहीं हो सकता है. So I don't know what is inhibiting people from learning CPR and from not starting CPR when it is required. CPR एक simple maneuver होता है. It is not very difficult to learn. Anybody above the age of 14 can learn. Why I say 14 is because 14 तक maturity आ जाती है ये realize करने की कि CPR कब शुरू करना है. आपको 2 उंगलियों का प्रयोग करना है. These 2 fingers you keep it at the nape of the neck of the person. जो गिर गया है आपके सामने, बेहोश होके गिर गया है, उसके नेप ऑफ द नेक पे, यहाँ पे आप अभी भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं कि अपनी पल्स फील कर सकते हैं. So you feel for the pulse. If you do not have a pulse, you keep these 2 fingers below the nose. You do not sense the breath That means the patient.
Anyone watching, follow us. So you were saying
Please
first
do.
here,
Please do.
then here.
This we do there, then we keep it here to see for the respiration. So you have ensured there is no pulse, you have ensured there is no breathing.
Okay.
Then after this, what you have to do is you have to feel for the center में bone होती है हमारे chest के center में सबके sternum नाम की एक bone होती है. You can feel that bone in the center of your chest. वहाँ पे आपने एक सिंपल मैन्यूवर बनाना है हाथ से. आपने ये हाथ को इस तरह से रखना है, इसके बाद इस दूसरे हाथ से इसको लॉक करना है और बाजू बिल्कुल सीधी होनी चाहिए. आप घुटने के बाहर बैठ जाएंगे, बाजू बिल्कुल सीधी रख के ये हथेली से दिस पाम, इस हथेली से उस इंसान के सेंटर ऑफ द चेस्ट के बोन के ऊपर इस तरह फिगर बना के आप प्रेस करेंगे. नाउ इट इज पीपल से इससे रिब्स नहीं टूटेंगी कई बार ही टूटती हैं, लेकिन दे विल नॉट डैमेज. You are trying to prevent the ultimate damage and trying to revive the person. So आप ribs की फिक्र नहीं करिए, आप press करिए. Press कैसे करना है? At least 60 to 100 times in a minute. The US ACC guidelines say follow a song called "Staying Alive."
Right.
You know that
the
beat goes "Staying Alive, Staying Alive." So you can go with that. Or you can go to counting 1, 2, 3, 4 at this speed. You have to do it at least 60 to 100 times in a minute. और आपको प्रेशर इतना देना है कि यू हैव टू इमेजिन कि रिब केज के अंदर हार्ट पड़ा है, हार्ट एक मसल है, आप उसको अपने हाथों से बीट कर रहे हैं ताकि ब्लड सप्लाई रिस्टोर हो जाए पूरी बॉडी में. सो ये मैन्यूवर सीखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. बहुत सारे हॉस्पिटल, इवन इंद्रप्रस्थ अपोलो हॉस्पिटल टीचर्स फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट हाउ टू डू अ CPR. मैंने कितनी बारी अपने हॉस्पिटल में अपनी OPD में ये कोशिश किया है कि जितने लोगों को हो सके सिखाएं. हम CPR की एक्सटेम्पोर वर्कशॉप करते हैं.
Doctor, we want to ask you, so I love firstly that you displayed it to us. Secondly, we will do that with our Breakfast Club audience. We'll have experts come on and teach them step by step, because I think you're so right when you say it's important. Doctor, we have so many more questions to ask you. That's why we were like, okay, let's move to the next question. Tell us, Doctor, what are signs that you have a cardiac arrest approaching, and are they different in a man and a woman?
You see, cardiac arrest generally, by and large speaking, does not have its preceding signs and symptoms which are there. That is why it is called sudden. It will come sudden. So prevention
is much more.
Yes, it is there. So here I will say two things, my friend. That first, sometimes there are some subtle symptoms जो हम ignore कर देते हैं. जैसे कई बारी होता है कि चक्कर आ रहे होते हैं. You are not feeling good, you feeling dizzy. कई बारी होता है palpitations हो रही होती है, हमारी हार्ट बीट बहुत फास्ट बीट कर रही होती है, या हमारी थम्पिंग हो रही होती है हार्ट में. These are some subtle signs which come in preceding to the sudden cardiac arrest. couple of days से इस तरह के symptoms हो रहे होते हैं जो हम ignore करते हैं, thinking कि ये तो ऐसे ही होगा, dehydration हो गई होगी. हम बहाने बहुत मारते हैं अपनी health के लिए. We try to explain them with the gas हो गई, ये dehydration हो गई, कुछ भी करके. Right. Secondly, what I want to say is that it is very important. See, there occurs a couple of defects in the ECG and echo of the patient, which can be picked up in the health checkups. If you go for a health checkup regularly, these can be picked up and you can be told that you are up against sudden cardiac arrest. अब तो हमारे इंडिया में genomic studies भी available है whether you are up against sudden cardiac arrest or not, because these parameters in the ECG, in the echo, they are varied by some medications that you take, and they are very common medications which we take during day-to-day activities also without taking a prescription, without asking a doctor. That is why it is very important to have your preventive health checkup done and to consult a doctor before starting any kind of medication.
Okay.
Are you aware that even an antihistaminic, आपको बुखार होता है, आपको खांसी जुकाम होता है, बुखार चलो दूर की बात, खांसी जुकाम होता है, उसमें जो आप एंटीहिस्टामिनिक लेते हैं, even that can cause the ECG defect which can give you sudden cardiac arrest. although the probability is low, but it can do that. It is explained in one of the side effects, and this antihistaminics is taken like a candy pill by everybody without a prescription.
Doctor, can we ask you, in the last 2-3 years, we've heard more and more about young people in their 40s, 50s, Indians, and stories also of young doctors who will be out hiking, and incidents have happened even when they're surrounded by other doctors. Doctor, I want to ask you, A, why are we seeing more cases? Because I know, yes, last year a physician's body came out and said that Indians actually get these problems 10 years earlier. So tell us why we're seeing this happen, A, and B. Doctor, a lot of people whispering this time and every time this happens that it has something to do with the vaccine. That's the question that comes right on the top of people's minds. Doctor, dispel that or speak to that, and also talk to us a little bit about why we're seeing so many cases.
Okay, so you see, we have just been through a very bad pandemic, right? COVID attacked us, and we were concentrating and learning on how to prevent, how to cure people. Now, COVID attacked the lungs. We were worried about the lungs. We kept on taking care of it because that is the evil we knew, how it is acting and how it is disturbing our body.
Right.
But please understand, COVID has done the inflammatory changes in the body. It has totally taken over the many systems in the body, and taken it to the extent of giving even an after damage to a lot of organs, and heart is a very important organ out of them. When we concentrated on COVID being the cause for lung problem, we never thought it could even take bad effect on the heart. But later on we realized it has caused myocarditis. It has caused myocarditis, which means inflammation of the muscle of the heart. It has left people with lot of heartbeat problems. Some people are having a slow heartbeat, some people are having fast heartbeat. It has left with scars in the heart, which have caused increased heartbeat and increased incidence of sudden cardiac arrest. So please understand, this virus has given us much bad side effects than we knew, because we all were learning that time. We hardly knew about anything about COVID. We were learning, and this is the after effect of COVID which we have learned. So we initially realized there are clots happening in the heart which are causing heart attack. But there were also rhythm problems, which we realized much later. We are getting a lot of patients, especially the young patients, with inflammatory conditions of the heart. That is why it is prudent, I would say, please get your heart checkup done. At least if you are having palpitations, or if you are having giddiness, if you are having any kind of blackouts, get your heart checkup done so that it is picked up and then you are treated, rather than undergoing a sudden cardiac arrest. The incidence of sudden cardiac arrest has also gone up because of this. I strongly feel, and my co-workers also feel, that it is a side effect we are facing because of the COVID and the damage that COVID has caused to the heart also. I still do not say, see, vaccine has been made from the virus. We always create the vaccine as an inactive form of virus. So I don't think so it is right to blame everything on vaccine. Vaccine has been made from virus. I agree that vaccine did not take so much of research and development as it takes in other diseases, but we didn't have time that time. It came as a solace and it has helped so many people. So I think it is the virus itself which has given us trouble. Rather than blaming the vaccine, we should be blaming the virus itself.
Okay, Doctor, it has been a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for starting with just the facts, the information, taking us through why this happens. To everyone who is watching right now, as we can see with this story, your age is not a guarantee that you are safe. As we're seeing this happen younger and younger, get your tests, but also, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, practice your CPR. We're going to do it on the show this week. Doctor, thank you for joining us. Okay, so far we've spoken of sudden deaths, unexplained collapses, and the science behind a cardiac arrest. including what the difference between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack is, and how you need to snap into action the moment a cardiac arrest takes place. But the real story could be bigger, even far more widespread than we think. We actually had our colleague, this is CNN News 18's Imani Channa. She breaks down the national picture from silent procedures that are taking place, these are often stent procedures and Ayushman Bharat, to the pharma data that is showing rising cardiac drug sales. There is definitely a larger systematic crisis at play, and she was going to shine the spotlight. Take a look.
The sudden death of actress and model Shefali Zariwala has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. Just 42 years old, she passed away from a sudden cardiac arrest, a tragedy that's becoming alarmingly common in India. But Shefali's case is not an isolated one. From celebrities to everyday professionals, heart attacks are now striking young Indians with growing frequency. And the data shows this is no longer just a lifestyle issue, it's becoming a national health emergency. Doctors and data both point to a disturbing shift. Cardiac problems that once affected people in their 50s and 60s are now increasingly showing up in those as young as 30 or 40. It's not just reflected in hospitals but also in pharmacies. Sales of heart failure therapies, life-saving drugs used after cardiac events have nearly doubled in 4 years. At the policy level, this crisis is now hitting the government's flagship health scheme, Ayushman Bharat. The scheme, which aims to provide free secondary and tertiary care to over 50 crore Indians, is now witnessing cardiovascular diseases as one of its top causes of hospitalization and claims. According to the latest data under the central government's flagship Ayushman Bharat, the maximum number of claims are for an angioplasty procedure that involves putting stents in the arteries of the heart to remove blockages which could prove fatal. The scheme serves as health insurance for the bottom 40% population of India who are extremely poor and vulnerable, busting the myth that heart ailment is a rich man's disease. The data shows that a whopping rupees 1,051 crore has been spent by the way of claims under the scheme so far on the procedure named PTCA, inclusive of diagnostic angiogram. This is the procedure to perform angioplasty after an angiography is conducted which shows blockages in one's heart. India is facing what Apollo Hospital's Health of the Nation 2024 report calls a silent epidemic of non-communicable diseases, particularly cardiovascular disease. The number of heart disease cases jumped from 380 lakh in 2005 to 641 lakh in 2015, and the numbers are still climbing. Lifestyle risks are a major culprit. Apollo's 2023-24 report shows that in 2019, conditions like high BP, cholesterol, obesity and poor diets contributed to 27% of India's total disease burden, up from 21% in 2010. These risks are tightly linked to heart diseases, strokes and early death. Doctors warn that modern work life, high stress, long sitting hours, fast food, gym misuse, sleep deprivation is creating a perfect storm for young heart failure. And the warning signs are often missed. Many young patients have no known history, no classic symptoms and no idea they are at risk until it's too late. From Shefali Zariwala's shocking death to surging drug sales and Ayushman Bharat's burden, the message is clear. India's heart crisis is not only real, it's getting younger and moving rural. Unless we prioritize early screening, lifestyle correction and public awareness, this silent epidemic will cost us our future, one heartbeat at a time. While we have focused on increasing incidence of heart attacks, we must also consider the side effects of anti-aging drugs and injections like hormone therapies such as testosterone or growth hormones, which can increase the risk of heart attacks if not used carefully. These treatments may play with blood pressure, thicken the blood or increase cholesterol levels, all of which strain the heart. Also, one very popular anti-aging injection, glutathione, which is otherwise a popular and very powerful antioxidant, can lead to sudden fall in blood pressure levels, causing heart attacks. In Shefali's case, we know she was suffering from epilepsy since she was 15 years old. It means she might be managing this condition via some medications. Hence, if anti-aging treatments are taken without proper medical supervision, they can trigger serious issues like heart attack. Also, for people living with epilepsy, there is a rare condition called SUDEP, S-U-D-E-P. There exists a rare but serious risk of sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. It leads to unexplained death of someone with epilepsy who was otherwise healthy. Though this condition is rare, affecting approximately 1 in every 1,000 people with epilepsy each year, it tends to occur in those with chronic or poorly controlled seizures. In this case, this angle should also be investigated.
All right, take care of yourself, and as we said a little earlier, get your checkups. And on the Breakfast Club, we're going to have someone teaching us how to do CPR in the next few days, just so you know the basics. It is incredibly important. But now, we're heading into the break, and on the other side, we entirely shift focus. We have legendary director known for his gorgeous films, Nagesh Kukunur. He's joining us right here on the show, right from Iqbal to his latest hunt, The Hunt. It's all about how Rajiv Gandhi's assassin was found. He talks to us about his process and how he picks his acting roles too. Join us in just a few minutes.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
And we are getting a piece of breaking news. EM Jayashankar calls out Pakistan in the United Nations. He said that any state-sponsored terrorism must be exposed. He said this at United Nations Anti-Terrorism Exhibition. Jayashankar urges global community to act against terrorism. That is a big statement that is coming in from External Affairs Minister S. Jayashankar, where he has called out Pakistan at the United Nations. And we are joined by Akansha Saroop on this broadcast. Akansha, that is a strong statement coming in from S. Jayashankar. How do you see this?
Absolutely. Harsh must keep in mind that he's directly taken a jibe, or he's directly indicated Pakistan's role in the Pahalgam terror attack when he said that no impunity should be given to terrorists, no treating them as proxies, no yielding to nuclear blackmail. This is exactly what even the US had hinted at, that there was a massive threat, which is why India had, there was an understanding also that had been made. And any state sponsorship must be exposed and must be countered. So important to highlight that the External Affairs Minister is making that point at the UN Assembly on anti-terrorism and urged the global community to act. He also referred to that resolution which was passed by the UN 5 weeks ago, condemning the terror act in Pahalgam on 22nd of April. So he wants to make a point to the UN, to the larger international community. It's also part of the broader push under Operation Sindoor, soon after our multi-party delegation went visiting across the globe. So important to also highlight that the Pak Army Chief Asim Munir was in the United States. He met Donald Trump, and Saturday at the naval parade, at the passing out parade of the Navy in Pakistan, he's gone on to talk about how what India may treat as terrorism is a legitimate struggle for them. They will continue to back terrorists diplomatically, militarily, in whatever way possible. So Asim Munir again, instigating the sentiments over there and playing the rabble-rouser that he has. So for the External Affairs Minister to make that point is a very significant one. It's also part of his visit where, remember, he's attending that Quad foreign ministerial meet at the behest of the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And it's also a reminder to the United States that if they regard India as a strategic ally, one that is an integral partner to the United States in the Quad grouping, then they will also have to address concerns of India when it comes to terrorism, because remember, India is going to be playing the Quad chair this year.
Right. Akansha, I would request you to stay on with us as we are getting another piece of breaking news. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on Monday confirmed that the United States and India are close to finalizing a trade agreement. Her comments came shortly after Trump voiced optimism about finalizing the trade pact with India. And we'll listen in to the White House Press Secretary's bite.
Yes, the president said that last week, and it remains true. I actually just spoke to our Secretary of Commerce about it. He was in the Oval Office with the president. They are finalizing these agreements, and you'll hear from the president and his team, his trade team, very soon when it comes to India.
And we have Akansha on this broadcast. Akansha, does this mean a trade deal is right around the corner between US and India?
Absolutely. And when they are saying that India is a strategic ally and that Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi share a good relationship, Caroline Leavitt has also highlighted how she's been in touch with their Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, and he was in the Oval Office with the President finalizing agreements, is only an indication that perhaps they are in, at that point of finalizing the deal. Not to forget the fact, Harsh, most importantly, that Indian officials have also extended their Washington visit only to reach these agreements on the trade deal. They were supposed to finalize it by Friday last, but that we are being told has been extended. And remember, trade talks between India and US have been hitting roadblocks primarily over disagreements on import duty for auto components, steel and farm goods. India is not willing to cut much slack, especially when it comes to our agricultural products and dairy. These are two sectors that are extremely protected by the Indian government. We have protectionist policies here because India's government is, always looking out for the concerns of our own farmers, our own agricultural sector. We'll have to see how the Indian officials manage to sort of iron out these differences. And as I said, they were expected to conclude discussions by last Friday, but they are now staying on until at least today evening to iron out these differences and move towards.
All right, welcome back. You're watching The Breakfast Club, and next we have on the show director Nagesh Kukunur. He is someone who has been loved for his nuanced directive, his incredible characters over the years, right from Iqbal, which he's loved for, to his most recent outing on Sony Live. This is an entire show around Rajiv Gandhi's assassination and how it took place. We're going to bring you more about it, but first, let's just have him onto the show. All right, let's just welcome him on. All right, Mr. Kukunur, it is so lovely to have you here on the show. Sir, your new show, The Hunt, can you just tell us a little bit about what it was like creating it? What was the narrative, the emotional thread you wanted to have running through it? Tell us about that.
Funny you're asking me this question because I've now been a filmmaker way longer than I was a chemical engineer. At one point, that was still, a dominant part of me. But now I've been a filmmaker for so long that I've sort of forgotten a little bit of my past life. But yeah, so I was a chemical engineer, did my bachelor's in India, then did my master's in the US with a complete bent towards environmental engineering. That's what my master's was in. What engineering has helped me on the whole is a very meticulous sort of clinical approach to filmmaking. A lot of times the industry and the directors have made this a little bit of mystical experience, something out of the ordinary where divine intervention happens and stuff like that. 90% of filmmaking is just extreme planning and sticking to your plan, extreme prep and making sure that you stick to your plan. A lot of things go wrong on set, but this engineering background of mine for sure played a huge part in the way I approach filmmaking. So a lot of times people find me a little too clinical, but that's because it's the way I look at things and place everything in boxes.
All right, so that's how your degree that you got in the United States years ago still impacts the filmmaker and the creator you are. Can we walk through your process with you? You said that you only work on scripts for 30 days. I think your exact quote was that if you can't do it in 30 days, you let it go. But can you tell us a little bit about how you've come up with that number? What's your rule on creating, on, intuition, creativity, all of that?
It's a very random number that I picked for myself. Obviously, 30 days corresponds to a month. But I feel that the bulk of the writing that I do, okay, there's a lot of stuff bouncing around in your head and, you're kind of debating things and, what do you put on paper. But writing as well as filmmaking is completely a point of view. There's no right or wrong. It's just the way you feel. So I don't like to belabor this process. I don't like to constantly question and counter question. And then, people say, I took 18 months to write the script and they're so proud of themselves. Hey, if that process works for you, more power to you. For me, what I've found that a lot of the stories that I sell, they spill out of me very organically. And there is a process and there is a sort of time frame during which this happens, when everything just comes out in a rush. And again, it's the engineer in me. When I set a deadline, I know that the way I'm wired, I will work towards that deadline and I'll make sure it comes out. And there are a lot of times that, you have writer's block and stories get stuck and I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe it wasn't meant to be. And sometimes I circle back to it, sometimes years later, and pick it back up and then we're off and running.
Can we ask you, one of your outings I really loved was in Patal Lok 2. It just took place. You were playing the antagonist, but it's not the typical antagonist. You're not loud. You're very, quiet. There's layers to you. How do you choose your acting roles? And when you're acting, does the director in you sort of constantly go off in your head?
So, I've pretty much, there's some minor stuff I've done where others have directed that never really made it into a larger public space, short films and the like. For the most part, I've acted in stuff that I've directed. So I have a clear sense of, okay, this is where I want to reach. And it's not an ego-driven, narcissistic approach to, I'd love to put myself on screen. Sometimes I feel very strongly that I understand the character better, so I do it. However, the biggest acting job in recent time, hands down, that someone else was directing was Patal Lok 2. So I was a little hesitant because I'm rusty. I'm a director first.
Yeah.
An actor way below the rung. So I was a little wary. I was a little scared and all of that. But once I had a meeting with Avinash and Sudeep, and I said, okay, I'll do it. Then it was like they explained very clearly, it was bringing a lot of myself to the table. A little bit of my time that I spent in the US, all of those elements, a little bit of that had to come into the character. When I'm on set, Not once do I ever wear my director's hat. Nope. Because when I direct actors, I don't ever want them to tell me what to do in the direction department. So I'm going to extend the same courtesy to the director when I'm on set.
Okay, that's a wonderful way to think about it. Can we take you back, like, in the earlier parts of your filmography, can we take you to the lovely Iqbal? I just remember when it came out and we were all just blown away by how tightly the story was told, the cricketing theme, but also just the fact that you had two central characters and your whole film was just built around them. Can you tell us a little bit, when you look back, what do you think made that film click the way it did? Did it teach you anything maybe about storytelling that you hadn't fully figured out till then?
The one most amazing trait about this profession is it teaches you nothing.
Okay.
There are no lessons to be learned. Because if we filmmakers ever knew that, oh bloody hell, we would churn out hit after hit after hit. Everything that we attempt is a damn coin toss, okay? Just go with our gut, go with our feel. And when it works, everyone is spouting gyan about their intelligence and how amazing and this and that. And when it doesn't work, some of them might be humble enough to say, oh, okay, I screwed up. Most of them will find excuses. I, on the other hand, I really don't pay attention to what happens at the very end. You picked Iqbal. Hey, it resonated with the audiences. It really worked. What do I take from that? That I should make another movie with a deaf mute as the lead protagonist, not have any romantic songs. No, there are no lessons to be learned. You just go with your gut feel at the time that you're making the film. You're constantly evolving as a human being. You are not the same 5 years later, or maybe even a year later at times. So I don't worry so much about what it is that a film gives me.
Okay, if we take you even further back than Iqbal and we maybe go to Hyderabad Blues, when that came out, it was this breakout indie success. And I think some even called it the most successful indie film till that time. So tell us, for you, when you look at then and now you look at today, do you think anything has changed for young filmmakers? Because a lot is made about OTT and this boom. Many have called it this leveler, now they say that younger creators get a chance. But I do want to understand, there's this other group that believes that no, actually just the gatekeepers have changed their faces. Now they are OTT, but there is still gatekeeping. How do you see it?
In a nutshell, what you just said, gatekeepers simply changing their faces. But there are two things that happened that really changed the game. One, when we went digital over a decade ago, okay? The first film that I made digitally was Lakshmi in 2012. From that point, I know that things changed dramatically. And for filmmakers who are trying to break in, at times, not everyone gets the opportunity, like I did, to use my own cash and make my first film, right? You don't have the resources, you're begging people, you're trying to work under someone, you're trying to build all this. So that was always a very, very top-down process that took a very long time for someone to break in. And what the digital revolution did is it took the power out of these higher-ups and put it back into the hands of the filmmaker. So for people to hone their craft, for people to be able to pitch stuff, I mean, all you require is a damn cell phone. That's all, right? So that was a great leveler. That happened.
All right. Thank you, Nagesh, for speaking to us here on The Breakfast Club. Before we let you go, any parting thoughts? I know we started by discussing your new series, The Hunt. Any parting thoughts, anything you want to add about it?
I would say that, enjoy it for what it is. It is a thriller that spans 90 days, and it has stuff which are eye-popping, total disbelief, because when I started actually going through the material, that's when I found out. So enjoy it for what it's worth, and all I would request people is, don't generate controversies where there aren't none. Just enjoy the show for what it is.
That last message is a very important one. Nagesh, though, thank you for joining us. Thank you for walking us through your artistic, your creative process. With that, we take you, our audience, from the world of health and what you need to look out for to the world of creativity, now to what's taking place across the entire world. Let's go first to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. It's a museum that's reopened its doors, marking a significant milestone in the restoration journey following the 2018 fire. This fire left only the museum's pastel yellow facade standing. It destroyed the majority of the National Museum's collection. That ranged from archaeological finds to historical memorabilia. The museum now houses collections that survived the fire, such as the Bendigo meteorite, and new exhibits like a whale skeleton. The Dalai Lama says there will be a framework in place to discuss his successor. This announcement comes at a ceremony ahead of his 90th birthday celebrations. He was wearing his traditional saffron and maroon robes. The 1989 Nobel Peace Laureate walked slowly, assisted by fellow monks, as he arrived to bless his devotees at the event. Among those in attendance were, of course, Hollywood star Richard Gere. He's a long-time follower of Tibetan Buddhism. And next, these visuals coming in from Warsaw, where tram drivers demonstrate precision and control in a series of competitions. The event featured 10 different competitions. It tested drivers' precision and control of massive vehicles. As you can see in one of the contests, it involved drivers. They had to navigate close to cardboard figures without touching them. Participants were also tested in assisting a person with a disability. The winner of the championships receives an invitation to participate in the World Tram Driver Championships in Vienna in autumn. And the F1 movie has roared to the top of US and Canadian box offices this past weekend. According to the analytics company Comscore, the movie stars Brad Pitt as a Formula One racer who is returning to the track after a serious accident. It had audiences racing to the theatre, apparently, bringing in over $55 million in ticket sales in 2 countries. Worldwide receipts topped $88 million, fueled by a strong pre-existing F1 fan base. Several factors seem to have helped the further success of this film. Variety reported it cost over $200 million to make. And next, we take you to Central Colombia. Look at these lovely visuals coming in. It celebrated its 19th regional donkey contest on Sunday. It started out 23 years ago as a fun way to honor local farmers and the donkeys who've long been their loyal sidekicks. It's now grown into a beloved tradition in the Boyacá province. Organizers and participants say the event is all about shining a spotlight on the important role that donkeys still play in farming life. Highlights included a donkey costume contest and a tongue-in-cheek donkey braying impression competition. And then the ever-beloved, massive, rather smash hit series, Netflix's hit series Squid Games. Characters from it took over Seoul's streets for a parade. Fans events even took place. Cast members, directors, all celebrating the release of the final season. From the iconic killer doll Young-hee to the pink guards and the stair maze, symbols of Squid Games marched down central Seoul. And after this parade, the director and cast members of all 3 seasons attended a celebration in front of Seoul City. And then travel down with us to Nigeria, where the diligent artist, or rather he's nicknamed the diligent artist, he goes by Adebayo Sion. He's carved out a unique niche in Nigeria's art scene. What he does is speed painting. To onlookers, his process can look chaotic. He works upside down on the canvas, but within 3 minutes, he can flip a canvas to reveal an entire portrait. Just take a look at that. His most recent performance was at the 50th anniversary of the Western African bloc ECOWAS. He is nicknamed this because his passion for the technique stems from his love of performance, obviously his love and want to bring artists and art to worldwide attention. And quickly, we take you to the world of sports, where India aimed for a strong comeback in the second test at Edgbaston, but all eyes are on Jasprit Bumrah's availability. Assistant coach Ryan ten Doschet has revealed that the pacer is fit, but a final call is yet to be made. Here's what he had to say about Bumrah. Take a look.
After a disappointing defeat in the series opener at Headingley, Team India is determined to bounce back in the ongoing 5-match test series against England. Preparations are in full swing at Edgbaston, but one question continues to dominate the headlines. Will Jasprit Bumrah take the field in Birmingham, or will the team management rest him to keep him fresh for the Lord's Test? Before the team departed for the United Kingdom, it was made clear that Bumrah would feature in only 3 of the 5 test matches, given the need to carefully manage his workload, especially his troublesome back, which has been a long-standing concern. Multiple media reports now suggest that the pace spearhead may be rested for the second test. However, India struggles at Headingley, despite Bumrah's presence and his impressive 5-wicket haul in the first innings, have left many wondering how the team would cope without their most dependable match winner. Amid all the speculations, assistant coach Ryan ten Doschet's comments at Monday's press conference added a new layer of intrigue. He confirmed that Bumrah is fit and available for selection, and that a final decision would be made closer to match day.
Available for the game, obviously we know from the start he's only going to play 3 out of the 5. He's obviously had 8 days to recover from the last test. But given conditions and workload and how we think we can best manage for the next 4 games, we haven't made a call on that. We're going to see what the other guys are with their workload as well. So technically, yes, he is available, but we haven't made a decision on whether he's going to play or not yet. Yeah, so with Bumrah, he is ready to play. So like I said in the very first question, it's how we manage these 4 tests. So if we feel like there's value in playing him in this test, we'll make that call at the very last minute. But I'm talking about whether how the pitch is going to play. Are we better off holding him back for Lords and maybe Manchester or the Oval? So it's all those factors. But you've seen him train yesterday. He trained a little bit today. It's not like he's not fit to play. It's just trying to fit those puzzle pieces to get the most out of him, out of what we know we do have from him.
Earlier on Monday, Bumrah was seen bowling in the nets alongside his teammates at Edgbaston. What grabbed the most attention, though, was his long and seemingly intense conversation with head coach Gautam Gambhir. That exchange has sparked further speculation about Bumrah's participation, especially after Doschet's remarks also hinted at the possibility of playing 2 spinners.
We'd love to get him into the team. Playing 2 all-rounders in the last game, we were desperate. It would have been nice to have a spell in the last game.
Among other possible changes in India's playing 11, Doschet has suggested that Nitish Reddy could come in for Shardul Thakur. Reddy, who impressed in the Border Gavaskar Trophy, is seen as a strong batting all-rounder and may offer better balance to the side.
He was fantastic in Australia, coming into the team and playing the way he did. We just felt on balance for the last game we wanted to go with the bowling all-rounder, which we thought Shardul was slightly ahead on the bowling front. And we're looking at ways of rejigging the puzzle, so we can get a batting all-round in, and obviously Nitish is our premium batting all-round at the moment. So I would say he's a very good chance to play this test.
Still, with no official word yet on Bumrah's inclusion, fans and pundits alike are bracing for a potential shake-up in the bowling unit. If Bumrah is rested, the choice for his replacement could come down to Arshdeep Singh or Akashdeep. And according to Doschet, the left-arm pacer Arshdeep Singh is very much in contention to make his test debut at Edgbaston.
Again, going back to the spin combination, if we are going to go to spinners, Arshdeep obviously provides a little bit more control, and you've got a left armer running in over the wickets. If we do want to put our eggs in that basket. I don't know if you saw the seamers, they all had a good trot out today. We feel that they're all there and thereabout, and they're all eligible for selection. So again, looking over the 5 series, how we're going to manage the 5 seamers that we do have, the out-and-out seamers. But Arshdeep is definitely in the selection mix for this test.
As the countdown to the second test continues, all eyes remain on Team India's final 11 and on Bumrah, whose presence or absence could well shape the course of this fiercely contested series.
All right, fingers crossed for the Indian team. Right now, we're going to head into a quick break. On the other side, we are not going anywhere. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
And we are getting a piece of breaking news. EM Jayashankar calls out Pakistan in the United Nations. He said that any state-sponsored terrorism must be exposed. He said this at United Nations Anti-Terrorism Exhibition. Jayashankar urges global community to act against terrorism. That is a big statement that is coming in from External Affairs Minister S. Jayashankar, where he has called out Pakistan at the United Nations. And we are joined by Akansha Saroop on this broadcast. Akansha, that is a strong statement coming in from S. Jayashankar. How do you see this?
Absolutely. Harsh must keep in mind that he's directly taken a jibe, or he's directly indicated Pakistan's role in the Pahalgam terror attack when he said that no impunity should be given to terrorists, no treating them as proxies, no yielding to nuclear blackmail. This is exactly what even the US had hinted at, that there was a massive threat, which is why India had, there was an understanding also that had been made, and any state sponsorship must be exposed and must be countered. So important to highlight